So there's this trend of people quitting their jobs for a YouTube channel. And I just wanted to speak on that just a little bit because I think it's important. I think it came off of the grid down situation that happened with the 2020 situation. Okay. And so I'm wondering myself, like, is it again time for me to quit my 9 to 5, right? I don't have a 9 to 5, but I do have work, secular work, okay, which I do remotely from home. And so I did share a story before, and I'll keep it short, that when this whole lockdown stuff started happening, I had a really great job and I quit. I quit because I couldn't bring myself to continue in the field of medicine. I had to leave. It was too much. And I can make a video about that if you're interested. Just drop a comment and let me know, and I'll share that story fully so you can have some understanding of why I did that. Okay. But so, should you quit your job? Should you or I or anyone quit their job? Right? So I looked at it and I was thinking, okay, most people don't want to work. Almost everyone. I mean, I don't know anyone, not one person who desires to go to work every day. I don't know anybody. But I think that people don't realize that they're very far removed from not working. So you may see even people who retire, they end up passing away within 2 years of retirement, right? Or they'll be bored or they'll be sad, right? So I wanted to go through this real quick just to see what are the benefits. I don't want to say the negatives because we all know the negatives. The society will judge you. Your friends or family will judge you, thinking you're some kind of loser because you quit your job. You'll hear all the stuff, and then there may be a dip in your finances, which nobody likes that because that reduces the quality of life, right? You may not be able to go out as much. You may have to strategize other ways of bringing fulfillment to your life, and so that brings me to the idea of, are we unhappy in work, or are we unhappy in the self? Okay. And so what are the benefits? What are the benefits of keeping your job? So for this video, I did write down a few because I didn't want to miss any. So I'm going to just refer to my notes a bit. But with the job, there are certain benefits, just like there are benefits to living in a structured society. There's certain benefits, right? If you get in trouble out there, you can call the police. That's a benefit, right? That we pay our taxes so that we can have protection. And I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing at myself because I'm thinking like protection. That's really professional technology, and we have protection in our aura. But anyway, that's a side note. Okay, let's get on with this. So benefits, right? Your PTO, paid time off. If you decide you need a mental health day once a month, you're going to get paid to stay home. Free money, right? Or so it seems, free money. Some jobs I've had, I would get 8 days of PTO I believe it was per month or per pay period. You would get a whole day per pay period. That's a lot of PTO, right? Okay. And then you get dental. You get medical. But we can put hashtags next to that because you do have enormous copays right now, but some people have chronic diseases and they may need these benefits. So without your 9 to 5, you may not still keep these benefits, right? You may have bills. You may have a child in college. You may have a child in sports. You may have a hobby that you like to go do. You might like golfing. You might like going out to eat, movies, shows. I don't know what you like, but you got to think this is part of your bills and recreation, right? And again, I put healthcare on here again because healthcare doesn't only mean your copay for your dental plan that is a benefit, but also the ability to pay for your medications. Healthcare is a thing that people look at when they go to get a job. They read through if they're going to get a PPO, HMO, what they're going to get. So with the job, you have these specific variables. You have these specific options, I should say. Okay, and then your work friend group. You have a benefit of having people of like mind, people of like education, people of like status. They're usually going to be similar to you because this job wants these certain types of people to do this certain type of job, and you can grow really close to people. And so you have this friend group that you can go out on lunch dates with every day. It's a social network then when you go to work, right? Okay, so that's a benefit. Another benefit is regular paydays. Regular paydays. You know that if you get up and you're at work for your 9 to 5, whatever your schedule really is, it could be 6 to 2, who knows what your schedule is. You know that every other week, for the most of us, is every other week, you have specific amount of money. And if you want to do overtime, you can almost double that, right? So you have a guaranteed income. You know you getting paid. That's a benefit. That's a huge benefit. That's almost like a cheat code to how we get into work. Okay, so I'm going to put a pin in that, okay? Because we could talk about that as a cheat code some other time. Okay, so but then now let's look at this. What is the benefit of having no job? No job. What are the benefits? I thought of one right off the top without even looking at my notes. I get to sleep in. I get to take a nap whenever I want to. If you don't know anything about me, know this. I like to lay down. I like to lie down and rest and sleep. No matter where I'm going, I'm looking like, is there a bed somewhere? Because I need to lie down. I'll bring a pillow with me. I bring a blanket with me everywhere I go, pretty much. Okay, so then and I did happen to have that on my notes. Okay, so then you have no schedule. There's no every 15-minute appointments. There's no every 30-minute appointments. There's no someone telling you when and where to go to lunch, how long your lunch break is. You need a 15-minute break to go pee. You have benefits now because the benefits of staying home is that you get to do that whenever you want. So you have a certain feeling of freedom. You have a freedom. You don't have that work stress anymore. You have time for your hobbies and your little habits, maybe. You could start a garden. Your time is your own again. You can increase your talents. You can spend more time practicing piano, guitar, drums, right? You can create music. You have more time with your children, more time with your family. You can exercise more. You can have more time to meditate. You can spend 8 hours in the dark meditating all day long. Oh, that'd be so lovely. That'd be so lovely. You can get more sunshine. You can get more sunshine. Okay. And so these are the benefits, right? On both sides. There's a benefit to keeping a job. There's a benefit to leaving a job, right? So what do we do with that? What do we do with that? The caution I would like to say is this, because I don't want to say the negatives, because I don't really want to go there. I want to say keep it kind of balanced, that both sides look pretty good to me. And I'm even considering this for myself, even though I do have a really good job and I really enjoy the work I do. I don't see a reason to outright quit. I may go part-time or just reduce myself a little bit even more. But at the same time, when it's time to get out and time to be totally done with it, these are the things to consider, okay? But here it is. We want to leave a job because we want ultimately more freedom. But there's a risk with that. If you want freedom, but you haven't set up the longevity of your life, are you really free? Can you really handle living in the woods should your gig jobs or your YouTube channel no longer pay these bills or no longer keep food on the table with the rising cost of inflation? I don't know, right? So these are cautions. Another caution is, again, I mentioned this earlier, but if you have chronic medical conditions, if you have a chronic medical condition and you have not done a detox, you have not figured out how to bring light and fresh air, prana through your body to clear yourself, then that's a consideration, because once you're off of this full-time job or you don't have these benefits, maybe you'll go to the county hospital. You know, maybe you might even have a family member who can write you a script. I don't know. But we got to tap into the earth and these herbs, right? So these are going into my solutions. But I'll just go ahead and mirror the solutions to the cautions while I'm here, okay? So then you will have to look at your housing. If you are not bringing in a specific amount of cash flow, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to have somewhere to live? What's going to happen about your gas in your car and your utilities? Okay, these are important things with a household, right? Okay, not just you. If you have children or a wife or a husband, you know, or a roommate, these are also collaborative conversations that you can have with them to say, okay, how can we work this out? Maybe both of us can go part-time and then we just share the bills. We just restrict what we do and we work on our side careers, right? That aren't related to being at a 9 to 5 job. Okay. And so I want to go into the solutions a bit because I was going to marry them together, but here, let's just do the solutions. So some solutions to having a 9 to 5 and wanting to get out, but you don't want to just jump ship and not have a plan, right? And that's number one. Have a plan. Have an actual plan. Test your plan. See if your YouTube channel could take off before you quit your job. Try YouTube. Put out some information, put out some material, and see if you have something that will contribute to the YouTube algorithms that will get you what you're looking for, which is a regular paycheck, some exposure to people, maybe a great message to share with people. I feel like everyone has a great story and great message, and everyone needs to hear that from you. Okay. You can also, on your break at lunch, if in case you're not ready to quit your job, but you do want to get that moment alone, you want some freedom, how about go outside more? Spend more time outside on your breaks. If you have a job in retail, try to see if there's anything you could do outside at the job, even if it's cleaning the window, even if it's walking people to their cars. Be of service, be of actual service, and send love to these people that you're encountering every single day. Because that right there will bring a certain amount of joy into your life while you're still making this decision on whether you're going to quit this job, right? Okay. You could also pay off the majority of your bills. If you have student loans, put them in deferment if you have a financial situation. If you have a lot of credit card bills, pay those down, pay them off, and don't use them. Just don't use them. Give yourself a budget or check your spending. You can also go minimalism style. You can become a minimalist, meaning you can look through your house, clear out any clutter, see what you already haven't used, and maybe you don't need that next new white, beautiful gown or dress. You don't need those new high heel shoes because you have these ones in the closet you haven't worn in 3 years. So there's a way there, okay? So you can also, before you decide to quit your job, set up your exit plan. You gotta get a sovereign mindset going for yourself. You have to realize that you're feeling stressed, you're feeling pressure, you're feeling unhappy, and you're feeling sick at this job. Because if you're thinking about quitting your job that you've had for a while, especially, and if it's paying the bills, you gotta be right there. You gotta be right there, kind of like, just desperate, really, almost, right? But you wanna get that mind together first. You want to get that mind together first and get your skills together first. Because being free just means, it really doesn't mean much in the false matrix because they got traps for that ass. You will have to get sovereign, which means that you work off of your own power. I'm working on my sovereignty. I'm working on having my own water source, having my own power source, meaning getting some solar panels, water catchment, having my own animals so I can grab some eggs. You know what I'm saying? Having my garden, having recreation built into my home so that I don't even need to go off site unless I kind of want to. I don't have to spend money to enjoy my time. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Okay. And so the reason why I say this part is because this false matrix is a trap. It's a trap for us. And we learn earlier on in life that if we go to college, we get a great job, then we're set. We just work this job, we buy a house, and then we do the whole American dream. But for many people, it's an American nightmare. And then we find ourselves in these jobs and we're not fully developed human beings before we become somebody's employee. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean? What does that mean to not be a fully developed human being? It means we have not fully developed ourselves spiritually. We don't know that we are unhappy with us, not necessarily this job, not necessarily even society, but within ourselves. We may have issues that have never been addressed, traumas that have never been looked at, and different things we carry with us. We might have an attitude because we just have a chip on our shoulder. Bing, 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 bing. That was me for a long time, and you catch me off guard still, and you might just get it. You might just hear me say something. And so I do know the kinds of jobs. This is the last little tip. I do know the kinds of jobs that work with me and how I flow, and I do really well working remote. I do really well in an office setting where there isn't a lot of people around me. I'm better working by myself. I'm more of a solitary creature. I'm great at leadership. I can definitely lead a team, and I can definitely problem solve. And I have great quality assurance thought processes. That is my left side logical, right? But as I transition to being more spiritual, I now know that I can still put myself in the situations that I just described that aren't the best for me, but it would have to be at a limit, in a limited capacity, to maintain my energetic my energies, to maintain my higher vibratory frequencies. Okay? And so when I say that we need to look at this matrix as a trap, we look at it as this. Like when we're told earlier in life, job and career will be the thing. But those kind of things can also put us in debt, because once we start working at these jobs, this is how it's a trap. Once we start working at these jobs, we start going on vacation, we start buying better clothes, we start eating at fancier restaurants. We can't help it. We just can't help it. That's what the world is doing, and that's what we do. We start going out more, and we just start spending. We might even buy a house that's beyond our means. We may not buy a house. We might be in a rental situation where it's a very nice apartment with concierge and pool and everything, and all that stuff adds up and it costs. We might send our clothes to the dry cleaner instead of washing them. You know what I mean? These little things, they add up. We may get our hair done once or twice a month, and that could be $500 to $1,000 depending on your style. We get our nails done. We start doing a lot more things when we have a little money or a lot of money. And especially if we have credit cards, we can go all out. But that is a trap, because that's a trap of debt. Now, if you up and quit your job and you don't have a plan, what you gonna do about all that debt? Right? So then let's keep going, right? So then once we start this job and we have all this fun with spending our money how we do, then we start getting sick. We start getting sick because we're doing too much. We're just doing too much. We start stressing, start feeling like overworked because we're doing all this overtime, because we're insatiable. We're consumers. We can't help but keep going. We're greedy. We want more. So, and that's me too. That's everybody. That's just how it is. Okay? So then we start getting sick, right? And then once we're sick, now what are we going to do? We got these chronic diseases. We got these benefits that we want to keep, which is the healthcare, the dental, the PTO, all the stuff I already talked about, the regular pay, all the stuff we already talked about. But now here we are, tired, in debt, frustrated. This is the trap. So how do we get out of that? Before we quit our job, what are we doing? We're going on vacation. We're spending our money. We're buying this and that to try to pacify or try to put a Band-Aid on something that's just unhealthy. That unhealthy thing is not the job. It's us. We are unhealthy. We have a broken mindset, and we are committed to consuming something outside of ourselves in order to feel better about ourselves. And then at the job, we're around other people who are ill too, who are sick too, who are not well. And all these vibratory frequencies are just negative, clashing with each other. And so then we're at this job, and this job is probably not a very healthy situation anyway. So then we start to hate this job that we wanted so bad on that job interview, right? And maybe you have a bad boss. Why do you think that boss is bad? If you think if there is such a thing as bad or good, why is this boss getting on everyone's nerves? Why is this boss being the way this person is? Because they got caught in this trap too. So it's not us against the job. It's not us against the boss. It's not us against anything. It's us looking at us and saying, okay, I can still be free at this job. I can get healthy still paying my bills. I need to reset, rewind, and let me just set myself up for the grand exit, okay? Because I'm not saying we're going to stay on these jobs forever, honey, no. No, okay? Let's not get it twisted. So because if we abruptly quit this 9-to-5 job, then guess what? What's the final straw on this one? Then we're at the mercy of the system. We're at the mercy of the false matrix. The false matrix got all kinds of stuff in store for someone who just abruptly quit their job with no freaking plan. Because if you're a woman, there's all sorts of ways the matrix can tempt you to make some money, right? And we're not talking about, certain things. We're talking about everything. There's OnlyFans, there's prostitution, there's all kind of stuff. Even if you do DoorDash, is that the safest job for a woman? What if you do Uber? Is that the safest job for a woman? I mean, I'm not trying to say it's good or bad. I'm trying to get you to just put this in your mind so you could think about this in a global way, okay? Because there is a component of spirituality that goes to these situations and why we feel this way. This is not by accident that we work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. It was set up that way deliberately and on purpose. But here we are. We don't have to blame that either. Because what we going to do? Who's alive that we can point to and say, hey, you did this to me? That's a futile argument. So what we can do then is what? We can make a plan. We can make an exit plan. So now I ask you to sit down with yourself, your family, whoever you live with, whoever shares bills with you, and say, you know what? I need out of this job. I need out of this situation. And either if the job is really off, maybe you need a different job for a moment, just a moment, and plan, where am I going to live for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Okay? What do I want to be eating over that time? How do I acquire that? What do I need to do? Because maybe you need to work another 5 years, get that 100,000 saved up, buy a house, boom, live there, do your thing, start your channel, sew something, sell it, put up an Etsy. I don't know. What I am going to tell you though is the answer is within you. It has always been there. It is with you, and you know what to do. Close your eyes, breathe, meditate, or take a walk, and set yourself up for the win. Set yourself up for the win. And don't fall into this trap of this false matrix and quit your job without a plan. Don't do that to yourself or your family.